First time I saw them was on the 20th of January, and they were right above that bungalow there. 4 of them were together, and a 5th one came up and followed them and joined them above the roof of the house. They just sat there and didn't move, and there were these enormous orange globes. There was no sound, didn't make a move. It was as if they just parked up and took the keys out and cleared off. Because I'd just come back from the shop and I was driving round the corner there, and they were just moving across. You couldn't miss them. They were so big, they were just there in the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
And I thought, crikey, that helicopter's low.
Yeah.
And then I realised it wasn't a helicopter because the 5th light was independent of the other 4 and came up and joined the other 4. And they all just sat together. And I stood for about 7 or 8 minutes, and I walked in the middle of the road, and I'm looking like this, and there wasn't a sound, there was no noise. You could hear the street lights humming, but you couldn't hear those lights humming. There was nothing at all. There was nothing behind the lights, as if they were attached to a machine or anything. So I went in the house, and I said to my husband, just whip out the back door quick and have a look over the garden gate, tell me what you can see. So he went out, and his chin is his kneecaps, he couldn't believe it, and he just stood staring at them. Then he ran to get John, our neighbour here, and John came out, and they were still sat there, hadn't moved, and just as John went back in to get his telescope, they slowly started to move away to the north. But they were only treetop height. Where that tree is at the back of that bungalow is how high they were. And we still didn't ring, we didn't do anything about it, because we didn't want to get laughed at. And then exactly 5 weeks and 5 days later, it was on a Thursday, the first time was on a Saturday. My husband was on the front here with my little boy on a 2-wheeler bike. He's only 6, he can start but can't stop. My husband's running down the back of him like this. And instead of being that side of the road this time, they were above this row of houses. And they just came sailing in from the end of the street, right, all in a line, just in a line.
I come flying out, looked up and saw them above here with the moon sat behind them, shot back in, grabbed my scope, and just couldn't believe what I was seeing, and then just checked all 4 of them were okay. There was only 4 at this time. Checked they were all 4 was alright, they were the same, and then sort of locked onto one, and by holding my scope hard against the lamppost and getting a good solid position against it, so I've got something really supportive, and then tried to get it in my mind's eye exactly what I'd seen. But a single light. Not any strobing lights, not red and green for your wings, for your port and starboard. No strobing lights, which are now your flashing white lights, which you can see very, very clearly for, 30, 40 mile away at least. So, no chance. I mean, like I've said, 30 odd years of spotting all over the world, Spain, America, Germany, France, Italy, all like that. It was weird. I'd say they were pretty low. I mean, guessing that they were looking through the houses in the distance going over towards Barrow Way, maybe about 1,000 feet, something like that. Distance, no idea. I didn't get a clear picture of them at all, you know.
Any idea about estimated speed?
No, only that they were moving away, and again, they were, about the time I got my scope on them, to be really honest, I had just no idea. I mean, they could have been going slowly, they could have been going a bit quicker, I just don't know. But they were there for a fair bit of time, so I'd hazard a guess they were reasonably slow. Out I went, and these things were just right over the top of the house, and they were just unbelievable. And I mean, we've said about aircraft and everything else, no way. I mean, they weren't hot air balloons or anything. My very first, and I'll be honest, my very first instinct was hot air balloon, as I first got a look through the scope at it. But then I started checking all 5, there were 5 of them. I think there are 5 now, again, my memory started going. But they were, I checked all the lot, I checked in each individual one, and then I checked one in particular, and they all looked the same. They all were like a big cylinder, white cylinder, like a parachute type material, as you might say. The moon was set behind, so it was showing through this material, as you might call it. And then in the base was like what you might call a candle light bulb. There was no flame or anything, it was just like a glow. And that was attached, it was like that, and it was attached to the bottom of this cylinder. And then it was like shaped like that in 4 separate like segments Open at the top, open at the bottom. So there was not, that ruled out the hot air balloon theory straight out the window.
And then the 23rd of March was the last time we saw them, and I was looking through my window because now I sit with my vertical blinds set so I can see straight down the street, and I'm just sat like this looking out the window, and it was 7:45, it was when the adverts were on for Coronation Street, and I looked out the window and I saw in the distance to the north-northeast, that's right, north-northeast, this orange light coming this way. And I called my husband Danny and I said, just have a look at that, is it a plane or is it one of them? And he looked and he said, no, it's a plane, definitely. And I said, well, it's orange and it's not strobing. So I went outside and walked down the driveway, and yes, it was one of them. And I shot back in and said, camcorder, quick, photograph, quick. And we both came running out, at which point John next door had come out as well, and Brian next door but one, Jill the policeman's wife from over the road, everybody was all out again. I managed to get them on camera, take photographs of them, and my husband got the video, and he filmed them all. We don't know what it was, we hadn't a clue what it was, but then they just sort of pulsated, strobe, popped and disappeared.
What do you think it might have been that you filmed?
I'm not quite sure. As you said before, I'd missed the previous occasion, and because they weren't, even though quite impressive, they weren't as close as last time, I didn't feel that nervous, and that's why I managed to keep a straight hand. But to tell you the truth, to know what they were, I haven't got a clue. I mean, we have helicopters around here, the odd one goes out, because we're so close to the coast here, and people get in trouble, so we know what a helicopter sounds like and looks like, and we get plenty of aircraft crossing over. But what this was extraordinary. That's why everyone came out on the street to see what they were, because they were going so slowly, these big orange balls, that people have never seen them before in their life, and they'd like to know what it was. People we've met have around here seen the lights as it's something very common, but it's just this little nick, this little area, which is strange. Oh, yeah, the battery's always on charge now.
Well, it's definitely not helicopters. It's definitely not a mechanical plane. I don't know of any other kind of plane that we make down here that doesn't make a noise. They weren't balloons, because balloons can't take up formation. Whatever it was under some kind of control to be able to take up formation like they did and just stop in the sky and not move and then just set off again willy-nilly, you know, they were under some kind of control. Wasn't balloons, wasn't helicopter, I don't know what it was, but what I think it was is not of this earth.